Hey true believers, it's Colt and I'm back for another episode of Marvel's Loki, and this time I got some company.
That's me!
Mr. Sevo is
That's
gonna
me!
help me get through this little look back at episode 2 of Loki. And it looks like we're getting ready to ramp things up after all the wonderful table setting of episode 1. This one's a little more forward facing, a little more things happening.
Some more meat on the bone.
Wouldn't you say so though?
I would. All
right,
In
so
fact,
now we're
I
off
did.
and running. Now we're off and running. I'm here to give you the breakdown and hopefully maybe point out some things that maybe you didn't think about, maybe you missed something. And once again, there's gonna be some spoilers in this video.
Spoilers.
So turn back now if you have not seen Loki. Let's start from the beginning. Let's recap the show. We start in 1985 in Wisconsin at a Renaissance fair. Love us some Renaissance fair. This is where we're finding the TVA hunting down Loki, the variant, the bad Loki. We don't know too much about this Loki, but we know it's bad news. And this ultimately ends in a fight between this unseen Loki and the TVA. What do you think about holding out for a hero being in every single little superhero thing now? It was in the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer, it was in the Masters of the Universe trailer, and now it's in this, in like 2 weeks.
That is a little strange, a little disconcerting.
So holding out for the hero is now the official anthem of big superhero, anti-hero craziness.
I mean, the groove's great, the beat's great, but do we really need it in everything?
So yes, this ends up in us meeting TVA agent CT-20, I believe, played by Sasha Lane. So she's mostly known from a movie with Shia LaBeouf called American Honey. I know her mostly from the movie Hellboy that just came out 2 years ago. Do you know her from anything at all?
That I do not.
I didn't think you would.
Never seen this man before in my life.
So yeah, that brings us back to the TVA where Miss Minute is now a actual character jumping around on the desk, saying she was previously recorded.
Sort of.
Sort of. It's complicated, just like everything about this show is.
Just the way I like it.
Alright, so from here we're getting into a field mission. They're showing a bunch of variants on a little tiny thing. Did you recognize any of these variants? Do you know what any of this was? There was like a big bulky one. There was one that was winning a Tour de France looking Loki.
Yeah, no, I thought it was just, I didn't get if there was a reference for it.
There was one that had just a beard and sunglasses and horns. Maybe hoofs. It's hard to tell from the little photo.
So, like, Devil Loki on vacation?
Like a little Beelzebub Loki. Oh, you know what else we got? We got before is a shot of their little wrist device. It had a bunch of things on the menu. You got a little, like, Miss Minute call them up. You got the thing that brings up the door. All right, so we're at Loki's first field mission. He's running around trying to trick him. Mobius, though, a little too clever for him. I like that they have not written Mobius as kind of like a dumb shit. He's kind of ready for Loki's deceptions. He's kind of into it.
Well, he kind of has to be. It seems like his career is on the line.
Yeah, but Loki does make some good points, too. He doesn't want to get zapped to death. He doesn't want to get disintegrated.
Yep.
So he wants a little bit of what was it, assurance?
What, the lie that he's going to get an audience with the fucking Time Masters?
Yeah,
Wonderful.
the Time Lizards.
Oh,
as he
you
likes to
think you
call
could
them.
manipulate me?
Yeah, he
That's
almost
cute.
had him. He
Almost.
admits. Wow. All right, so from there, we're back. Renslayer and Mobius are having it out. She is not happy about this variant Loki, or our Loki, rather. And he's trying to convince her otherwise.
But she does a pretty good job because you do need, you know, what better of a reference do you need than the variant itself? Well, at least another version of it.
You see they had a FDR high school pen. Some kind of reference to something? You getting anything out
Everything
of that?
must be a reference to, because it can't just be like, oh, cool, they're Time Masters or whatever. They can go anywhere in time and get any relic they want as long as it's permanent to a case.
Which
So-
we find out later, a lot of it's from the future, so
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily have to be anything we recognize. More on that soon. We have a Loki research montage where he's kind of trying to find out what he could do to find this variant, find the hiding spot, ultimately discovering that they're
Which
hiding in
is just
Doomsdays. Very, very,
weird.
very smart thing.
Seeing him at a desk with the tie, all that paperwork, it's kind of great.
And his pop collar, he's loving it though.
Yeah.
So I went through the notes that he has, and there's nothing of note really, but I have seen some fake things online that made me have to go back and rewatch that. It does spoil the ending on one of those things. It doesn't. Don't fall for that. All right, so from there they're going to see Mount Vesuvius, the big eruption in Pompeii in 79 AD. which I think is a lot of fun. Loki is letting out some goats, probably feels some kind of companionship with the horned beasts, letting them out, letting them run loose. Also, I like that he starts yelling to the people the whole story about how they're from the future, the TVA. Because I think this is maybe confirmation about the All-Tongue. Loki can speak any language.
Yeah, so they did understand him, right? He was speaking their language, not just like...
That's what it looked like, because it was translated at the bottom.
But their faces made it seem like they still didn't understand what he was saying, or just what he was saying was so absurd, right? That's basically what that...
I think that's more what it
meant.
was, although I think in the last episode, the very first people he meets in Mongolia, he kind of tries to start talking to them, and kind of to the same effect.
Yeah. But his magic wasn't working at that point, right?
I don't know.
Because it's working now. He dried himself off and shit, so that confused me.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice to just do a quick dry spell?
Yeah.
So you're not squishing. All right, so while he's pitching this idea too, let's mention about swallows becoming extinct in the future, because now they're trying to set their plan in motion. They're looking through all the doomsdays that happen amongst these years with the kablooey gum in rotation, which is a retro-looking gum that's released about 20 years from now, or about 30 years from now, rather.
Yeah.
All for it, except we learn about so many doomsdays upcoming. Just disaster after disaster, including the swallow extinction, which screws up the whole ecosystem. So I think this is Marvel's way of saying, do better. Take care of your swallows.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
All right, so from here we got more Mobius going back to Renslayer, kind of trying to convince her to put an army together, little task force, get this Loki. They think they're hiding out in this certain place, I believe Alabama, in a rainstorm, which was a bad enough storm to destroy a whole supermarket. The supermarket is Roxcart. You get the reference, yes, sir?
What, Roxxon Corporation?
Oh, yeah. Roxxon has taken over. They got their own Roxcart Mart.
They're even Walmarts now.
Yeah, and you can see their futuristic name tags and the little futuristic holograms outside the store.
I wish there was a Minotaur somewhere.
Oh boy, you bet there is, but we didn't see it at that point. Maybe something for Thor, Love and Thunder. All right, so we have some more confrontations. We have Loki pointing out that going back and forth between the people and calling it enchantments. So that's our first kind of clue that something's afoot here. As we know, we think this is a Loki from the future, but we have our Loki versus Loki fight, where there's a little bit of body switching.
Which is smart, by the way, to save like money on CGI and like all this other stuff. Like,
yeah, just hire a farm man.
Just hire anybody.
Like, have him be skinny old Randy working at a Roxxon and then turn into big old Bubba. So yeah, and then that's the big reveal. We find out that it's Lady Loki. Pulls down her hood, blonde hair, and a missing horn.
Wait, there was a missing horn?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't two just small horns?
It was one small horn and a broken horn.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Oh, yeah. So, maybe that's a plot thing. We'll find out.
It's kind of weird. Why is she blonde?
Why is she blonde? We have an interesting theory that comes after the credits, but I do want to point out that the color scheme seems to change. The whole thing is kind of cold colors, a little bluish, a little greenish, like Loki himself. As soon as she sets her plan into motion and zaps away, it turns into reddish, which, as we all know, is more of a WandaVision type of color, which kind of gets us ready for alternate dimensions, alternate futures, all the multiverse stuff coming up in Doctor Strange 2. So a lot to get excited about. Maybe. It could be nothing. But you know what's not nothing? Perhaps a mistake on Marvel's part, but at the very end of the credits, we do our dubbing actors of all the different languages and countries that this has the option to change on Disney+. I believe it was the Italian that let something slip that is not just a variant, it's not just a Loki of the future, but it goes by the name Sylvie, which is a character associated with the Young Avengers in Enchantress. Not the Enchantress, but a second Enchantress that was created by Loki himself. And if that's the case, this could be another step forward towards a Young Avenger kind of team up. As we know in WandaVision, including Wiccan and Speed, we have Patriot showing up in Falcon and Winter Soldier. We have Kate Bishop gonna show up in Hawkeye. We have Cassie Lang showing up in Endgame. Who else do we got? We got any more? I believe there's one more, but I can't
Wasn't
think
it
of it.
Vision's kid, though? The female, like, Vision's daughter?
I think
Wasn't she a younger... Oh, was she
I think she was a runaway.
No, she wasn't a runaway.
There was a robot in Runaway.
No.
Not in the show, but in the comics.
No, in the comic, though, there was? Nah.
Yeah. I don't know if it was Vision's kid, but there was like an android type.
My biggest thing about the imposter Loki, the blonde lady Loki. Real Loki would never wear his hood the whole time. He wants you to know. He wants you to know it's him sneaking. If he's sneaking around, he's sneaking around. He's somebody else. You know? He doesn't need to wear a hood.
I don't know.
I don't need to be all
that's
serious.
That makes sense for like the Joker and stuff, but I don't think Loki's exactly the same. I think Mischief's is kind of his deal. Like, I think he is an attention hog and has an ego, a huge ego.
Yeah, but if he's gonna hide,
I don't think he's above hiding though. Sure, but that was pretty pizzazzy.
What, a green hood?
The hood's inconsequential. Like the murder scenes themselves, he's doing the stabbing, or she's doing the stabbing rather.
He just seems more like an arcade type to me, where
So,
it's
yeah,
all
you
on
might-
grand display, and like there's nothing to hide except when I run away at the end.
Yeah, you might be onto something, but I'm not too convinced. I could see it
No,
going
it's just like
either
my
way.
first random thought, even before I knew the end of credits.
Well, that's how
language
Loki
spoiler.
convinces Mobius to go with his plan. If you can't trust anything else, just trust that he wants to be proven right.
There you go.
All right, so yeah, is there anything that you noticed that I can point out? One thing I forgot to mention was in the files that he's going through, we see Revengers pop up. Of course, the name of the team in Thor Ragnarok that ended up consisting of Valkyrie, Hulk, Thor, and Loki. Okay, you know what I want to do now is make predictions for the future, because of course the ending of this episode ended insanely. It could go in any direction at this point. I think
I didn't think he was going to
most
walk
of
through
the
that door.
things- You didn't think so?
I did not think so.
Well, you know what's beautiful is most of the things that we've seen in the trailers, I think, have already shown up. So I think from here, we could really go in any direction. There's 4 episodes to go. What are your hopes and dreams? What do you think is going to happen in episode 3 to start?
I kind of hope that the Time Masters try to chase him through that door, and they just
The Time Masters themselves, you think they'll make an appearance?
No.
Maybe in
at
episode
the
6.
end. But yeah, that's what we thought last time too. I think it's still going to be more mystery, and the big reveal won't be to an actual cinematic release. But like maybe we'll see the back of his helmet or like his shoulder, because there's like so many defining
Timekeepers,
characteristics on Kang himself and his like armor or
Do you
like
think
his
he
clothes
is
from the
one
future.
of the timekeepers?
Yeah,
to cut
I
you
thought that
off?
was a little like re-looking at the lizard people's faces, and
One
like,
in the
whatever.
middle is a little Kangish.
A little, right? But also, it's just that gem that he has. Not so much like the helmet and stuff, but like the clothes that
The
he
helmet
wears.
too,
is
though.
For the helmet too, sort of. There was slight variations, of course. I feel, but I don't know. I feel like they wouldn't release him in this show, which could also mean they will. Because it's very unexpected to release somebody that big. Like, you
Well,
think
we
Thanos
do-
would show up in Falcon and Winter Soldier if that like happened at this point in time?
We do know the casting of Kang in the future, so it's not out of reach that Jonathan Majors could pop up playing Kang.
It's true.
I will say, for our past 2 shows, WandaVision, that ended. It's going to be continued in Doctor Strange. Falcon and the Winter Soldier ended. They announced Captain America 4. Loki has no immediate future plans other than they've confirmed multiple
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
seasons.
It's gonna be an Ant-Man Quantum Vision.
I don't know. They said they might start working on Loki season 2
Really?
while this is going on. So
Really?
now, yeah.
I'm actually quite surprised. I thought most of the shows were going to be one and dones just because they're big leaders into, and then just make a new show instead of Loki season 2. Just have it be, well, however this ends. You know what I mean? We have to see that first.
Well,
before we
they
come up
seem
with a good
they
title.
seem to be pretty good at planning, so I'll give them the benefit of a doubt if they want
Yeah.
to do a season 2 of Loki. Also, I do really enjoy the slow burn of the Marvel films. They're kind of setting up alternate timelines, multiverse stuff. They're doing it very carefully, very slowly. They want to make sure no one gets lost. In contrast to what DC's doing, which we just made a bad movie. Let's just say multiverses exist and shove it in your face. No explanation. Now the Flash is going through all the different universes. Which, I don't want to say is bad because I haven't seen any of the future movies, but I think I much prefer the slow burn, kind of build up to it route. All right,
I kind of hope that they try to travel through a bunch of different time periods looking for Loki, but then run into some of these other variants that we saw on that screen like kind of like go into these other timelines that shouldn't exist, and just like search for them, and like get confused the whole time.
Yes, this whole timeline plot does bring up a lot of questions with what's the sacred master timeline, and what are
Is that just the timeline in this dimension? Like, I still think dimensions are still different. Like, each dimension still has time, like its own ultimate timeline.
As far as I can tell, and I'm sure it's going to be explained further, the TVA, the Timekeepers, put the TVA in charge of protecting this timeline, which they claim is the sacred timeline.
616.
Well, whatever the movie version is.
Yeah. Because think about the Marvel Zombie universe, like the world where everybody's a zombie.
Well, do you think
That's
this could
existing somewhere, but not in this timeline, right? Just in a different universe's timeline.
Well, do you think that this could be a direct lead-in into the What If show?
Well, what ifs are always pinned out to be something like that, right? It's just this is instead of 616, it's 600's version. That way, there's no ties, no anything. It's just like a throwaway.
Yeah, but that's the next Marvel show coming out. Uatu animated. It's gonna be.
It's animated. Why did I miss that? I forgot that.
There's a trailer for it, man.
I didn't watch it. I saw the lineup and I didn't look into anything.
Yes, it's animated. All right, we're done here. So
now that I'm too horny to speak, we gotta sign off.
Thanks to everyone who watched this episode. I killed Sevo, so you don't have to worry about him anymore. But we'll be back next week with another episode of Loki. Yeah. Plugs in the description. Thanks.